Good afternoon from yammybtv. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love as usual. Hoping your weekend and day is going the best it possibly can. I was going to do the weather forecast again just now. Victor B was just saying, I hope the sun shines out. I was just halfway through a video. It's such a pain with the phone. That's why I can't wait for the shows to start, where I'll have the camera equipment's ready and all that kind of stuff. So I don't have to press, because I've got funny fingers. When I press the wrong button while someone's trying to message, it can disorientate you. So if anything comes up on the screen, I am not pressing it, so just bear with me just a second. But Victor, the sun was just out, but it looks like it's just going back in. And Patrick Moran as well, sending loads of love to you as well, boy. So we're going back into the archives, which is storytelling. It's a theme on yammybtv. It's how we started. The stories are very much a part of my journey with that bad life and the things that I went through. So it's my journey. Sometimes the stories we don't want to glamorize. It's more fear factor, prevention, cure, to deter people from going back there or ever going there, with the things that go on there. It's very, very serious, especially with the characters you can meet, from good to bad to indifferent. You get a sense of who's seriously unhinged, who's borderline unhinged, that if you're right, they're all right. You leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. But there are also men that won't give you a chance when arguments start, meaning that they will, the minute words are exchanged, they won't answer back, they'll pull out a weapon and you can be severely hurt. And the story goes on to that, where I had a trilogy with one man over the years. Very frightening experience when I look back. You're not the kind of man you want to meet on a dark night, trust me. But again, I'm in hideown. I'm all alone behind the door. And it was during that time I was in the E-Man suit, which is a budgerigard suit, all yellow, so you stand out from the rest of the wing. You get put in them because of escape attempts or trying to come back. You've got to be monitored, meaning they take your clothing in the box morning, afternoon and evening at night, so that you don't bang up behind your door with clothes in case you escape from behind the door. Also, like the Cat A book, you have to get escorted everywhere, from the gym to visits and everything. It gives you kind of, like, I used to use it as, oh, you look at me kind of thing. I'm different from the rest. I'm dangerous kind of thing. Because remember, I've never been on the Cat A book itself. A lot of the times I was in the Cat A's as a B Cat prisoner, whose behaviour was so bad kind of thing that they'll send you to the Cat A's to frighten you. Like that. So you can get harmed quicker. One of the themes, not fact, theory, but one of the things I encountered in that life as well. So I've been a potential Cat A, Brixton, for the robberies and for the duress trial in Belmarsh during that other thing, with the robberies as well, sadly. But never actually been on the book, like as in an E-Man book. But spent most of my life in high-risk prisons of some kind anyway, even from a small boy. We know that. But yep, so it runs very much the same as a book, the E-Man, the A-Cat thing, because you still have to have regular hearings to come off, depending on your sentence, how long you're doing. The E-Man book is every 3-6 months, they review it, and if your risk has been lowered for the escape attempt, then you become like a normal looking prisoner again, where you can move around with general population a bit more freely than as I was with that budgerigard suit on. So I was thinking at that time, because I'd already been a few places up north and all around, and been stabbed, attacked and a few times, and given as good as I've got during that life, this is how it was for me. So I was quite happy to be on the E-Man list. I wasn't getting regular visits then, sadly. So I wanted to stay in the local prisons, because during that time, the local prisons, I've got more benefit, especially if you're just passing your time with badness, which is not a good option. We know, but it was the way that I was. And you don't want to move, because you can get hold of things freely, you know everybody, you can get things, you've got the angle of who's got what, where to go, when to get it. You've got your old plan, and being moved to somewhere further out would leave the grafting and hustling and the day-to-day life in what I was getting there. Somewhere else it would be a bit more limited, especially if you're going to the places like the Isle of Wight, where you it used to be a bit more harder to get stuff in, so there wouldn't be as many dealers, if you like, to put it plain and simply. So I wanted to stay because in Highdown for as long as I could, because I was still at the beginning of this other sentence. This was shortly after the duress trial for the robberies. So the being on the E-Man book restricts other prisoners taking you. It just changed because in the old days you could get shipped around in an E-Man suit, but during this time, rightly, I think I'm right. During this time, the other end, another journey, the other end, another establishment. They don't want to take you while you're at risk of escaping, no matter where the prison is, unless it's an absolute emergency and they can't cope with you. So I was happy to be on hold in Highdown where time would get done, so I was misbehaving on purpose so that I stay in the suit. But lo and behold, the 3-month period, 4-month period, for whatever it was, they thought my risk was lowered. So I started to get fearful that they're going to move me straight away, and so I was right. Called to the office, appeared at the window, young Wendy in Highdown, those who remember her, we won't call her full name. She said to me, Yammy, you're going to Parkhurst. Oh, so I tried to play it cool. Don't really matter. Is it? Okay, yeah, sweet. I'd just like to remind you all that I've been there on this sentence on the national and been refused at the gate for past things of being there where staff was allegedly bringing in stuff for me. So I said, don't waste my time and make me go all the way there and then I get refused and have to come all the way back. So I said, suggest you run some checks, because if it happens to me again, because I've been going around the national quite a bit, which was every week, where, you know, they had this place, I think it was Yarmouth or somewhere like that, where you stop off every day, and all around the country, everyone, all movements are on that circuit like that. So, no. So she went to check and she come back. Security told her, no, he's right. It's written in there. He can't go on the Isle of Wight. So I came back celebrating with the boys because I was getting ready to have a protest, the battle, go down the block, that kind of stuff. So as I was celebrating, I got another call. Yammy, can you come to the centre, please? Came to the centre, explained, yeah, Albany, you can't go to Parkhurst, but Albany will have you. Because your history there, even though you've been there years and years ago, there's nothing stopping you from, so there you have it. Didn't squirm out of that one. We know the Isle of Wight's been like a local for me since the 80s, like that. So I didn't try to fight it. I thought, you know what, Highdown's run's come to an end. And, you know, next part of the journey, basically. So Albany's come, got on a sweatbox all the way there, same old feelings. Who's there? Who have I got to be careful of? Who am I going to be glad to see? You know, through the grapevine, you get to hear every day where somebody is. Oh, you know where he is? You know where they are? Yeah, I heard he's in there. We just got a letter. They're there and that. So you build up your information over the months or how long, where you're trying to keep up with different people, especially if you're me, where you've got a lot of enemies or creating a lot of enemies and all living the life that I've led with all the problems that it brings and brought and still now bringing. So you know the long-term effects of the way that I lived is not going to be a very, very happy ending or a peaceful end, you know, until later life where, you know, we accept our part in stuff and move on. So yep, I got there and I'm remembering. So as soon as I get there, it's changed Albany at that time. There's one, it's changed into all Rule 43s, but there's still 2 or 3 wings that are normal things. But you can't socialise with the rest of the prison. Albany's a horrible looking place. It's got the night sounds like Long Lartin and Coldingley. So when I got there, called straight to the gate, because A, I think, or B, or you can go to the middle landing and talk through the gate. Got called straight away. Is Yammy there? Yeah, call him. Yeah, he's just reached. He's got a ponytail. Yeah, someone's come down, got me, gone to centre. Straight away, I'm looking for stuff like I was during that time. So I'm talking to Junior Mac, who I grew up with. Listen, Green Boy, one of my boys from way back. I'm hearing rest in peace now as well, sadly. Tragic ending that one as well for poor old Junior. But listen, sorry. So we're talking. He's saying, Yammy, get into the sewing machine shop, right? So we know during that time, if you're not working, you're restricted in your movements. So unless you're a cleaner on the wing, they're going to leave you behind the door, which in case for me, with the way that I used to think, would mean that I wouldn't be able to hustle and bustle and meet everybody around the jail who there is to meet to get stuff, or, you know, some kind of currency, substances, whatever you want to call it. It limits your options. So if you're working and you go on the walkway, there's more activity and more chances into bumping into people. So I put my name down for the sewing machine shop, and about 5 or 6 days later, the week after or something, I'm in there on my first day. So I'm looking forward to seeing Junior, because recent times he's on remand. I think ones of them had just started remand a little bit, with 1 wing or 2 wings of remand, because he used to be all convicted in the early days, and they was going on trial, Junior and his couple of his codees, for a kilo of coke. That had something to do with the News of the World report. Some of you might remember the case. I was banged up with the co-defendant Sticks, and right stitch-up case that was, but I remember being banged up with Sticks. They all served time for it. I got sentenced for it, but I was on remand with them. So then this is now meeting him now since then. So on the morning that I'm going to the workshop, hyper, looking for him, you know, the camaraderie, the sense of belonging. I know him, he knows me, we know what you're like, all the things that go with that life, with the life that I lead. We know about that. So I walk to the shop, but I've got a medical appointment that morning. So instead of going for at 8:30, I know I've got the feeling that one of my mates down there might have something, so I want to go to the workshop so I see them to get something as well. So I missed the medical appointment, thinking I'll go back and see it another day, because really I only used the medical card, made an application to the doctor so that I could get out the cell, so that I could go on the walkway, so that I could bump into someone, so the chances are quite high that I might score or get something, right? So I've gone to work, we're in there. So we're catching up. He's explaining to me how the case went with the News of the World reporter, a man that was posing as a potential buyer of a kilo of cocaine, and somebody's let them in through the back door base, and they brought them to somewhere else. It's a sting operation, not right. Basically, what do they call it? Forget it anyway. But you know, you're leading whatever it is, the crime to happen kind of thing. But you lot will tell me after. But anyway. So I've got in there about 10:15. It's just me and him talking at the thing. I noticed there's scissors about, sewing machines with the things like that as well, where you got a cut. You're looking around, there are two seated seats for the work thing, like sewing machine, 2 men, 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 and me and him are talking. So at 10:15, officers have come through the door and said, Yammy, look, you've got an appointment. You want to come? I said to him, all right, I'll see you after Jay. We'll talk later on, blah, blah, blah. So I've gone to the doctors. On being in the doctors, waiting, and officers there, when the alarm goes sometimes, it comes onto the radio where incidents just happen, serious incident, and the bell gets pushed. And I'm hearing through the walkie-talkie, sewing machine shop, right? So I'm thinking, all things about, I haven't been in the jail long enough to be wondering about who it could be and what it could be, blah, 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 because early days for me, but obviously I just left the sewing machine shop. So on countering, going back for lunch now from the doctors, the medical centre, gone back to the wing, I'm hearing that my mate Jay has been stabbed with a pair of scissors by a geezer called Biko. Right, so I'm hearing also through the grapevine of witnesses that was there, it was over 4 stabs, something as small as that, or smaller even, can't really recollect, and that. So they're saying that he never stood a chance. The man who's got history for it, Biko, pulling out his things when you least expect it, when a little argument or there's some kind of confrontation of some kind, one of those men draws out his thing straight away and stabs you. That's the kind of men that you've got to face in there. Call it what you want, but there's just different levels to this thing. So I remember vaguely seeing him a couple of times. I think he was on my wing, so that when you're on different wings, you can still go to the same workshops. But apparently, Junior got it quite bad. So as far as I let that one go, because they're both down a seg, both in healthcare, whatever. Junior's in healthcare, he's down the block. Forgot about it. A week later, the geezer's appeared, Biko. So my eyes are on him. Junior hasn't returned. He's gone across the road to Parkhurst, I think, from the hospital wing there, apparently. So I'm looking at him at the corner of my eye because I'm remembering now the workshop, because I'm thinking, well, he would have seen me talking to Jay. This is how the mind goes when you're in there. It can be far-fetched. It could be, mad thoughts. It could be, spiraling out of control. The worst case scenario goes through your head. But hey, it kept me on my toes forever and a day. And it's sometimes to overthink with that kind of drama is really is a proper way to do it. Because if you expect the worst, you can't really go wrong. But sometimes you can get badly wrong and react very, very badly to a situation that you could have swerved or ducked and dived a little bit. So he's come back after about a week, and I've seen him. So those thoughts are passing through my mind. Is he going to be thinking that I'm going to become, because he knows that that's my mate, that kind of thing. But like I said, I'm running around like a madman at that time. And it was the phone card time. Some of you remember Paddy talking to you this morning about the phone cards. Remember, £2 a card. But when you're buying things, puff, substances, A-class or whatever, you need 5 £2 cards as a tenner, the currency them days, to go and buy. But being Yammy, that greedy little thing that we was, I used to go with 2 cards. I'll give you back the rest later, don't worry. And you do it about 10, 20, 30 times to the same people. And they don't, no, I need 5, because you find that a lot of times in that life, the dealers are not smokers and they love the phone. Remember, the mobiles weren't really around then. And they want to talk to their missus or whoever they want to talk to and use their currency to get their phone cards. So it's another addiction. It could be that they got the phone cards, we want the drugs, it's that kind of stuff. So sometimes you can come with 2 and they need a phone card at that time because theirs is running out. So they say, all right, give me 2 for it, I'll give you this one. There's a smaller one here, there's a bit of puff there, that kind of stuff. So I'd been running everyone ragged as usual. I'd been there 2 weeks, but I'd been in jails, other jails with some of the men that were around that time, Indian, MB, Mikey B, probably everyone was there, right? So, and I've gone, so this morning here, he's come back. So for about 2 days, I'm on my P's and Q's. So I'm watching Albany, though you can't see up the stairs to the other landings, because you look from the bottom and then it goes in, much like Coldenley, Blunderston, and Long Lartin, Blunderston and Coldenley. Yeah, I think they're the only night sounds that I've ever come across, right? So 2 days of like thinking, he stabbed up my mate, when am I going to make a move? Or we'll leave it for a bit, I'm running about, he's seriously dangerous, we'll leave that one alone. I could look into his eyes and know that he's a bit more deeper than me with violence kind of thing. So I knew that it weren't going to be an easy thing, and I knew that I wasn't going to take no check. So I'm not going to butter it up now to try and limit what I felt that day, because in that life, being Yammy, this is how I used to think. So after a couple of days of that, sorry, we'll get to the point now, I'm doing my usual one. So I've come out in the morning, I've got 2 cards from the night before. So I'm going to these, like they say, nah. But there's other runarounds like me at that time. And this guy that stabbed Jay, he was a bit of a runarounder, but not an upfront one. He wasn't socially like that, but I knew that he dabbled or been involved in stuff as well regarding currency. It's kind of everyday living in prison. So I'm doing one of my ones. All right, I need 3 more cards to make 5. But this man's got 1, that man's got 1 card, that man's got 1 card. So I'm saying to them basically that I've got the man, he's got the stuff. You can't get one with one of them. So join forces with me. I'll get a big amount and we can all share it. But really, we all know, sadly, that it was Yammy B bullshit. So I was just basically looking to get all their cards to make my 5 and be the greedy thing that I am, have it all to myself. But coincidences. That's what I say. Sometimes things can just you can fall into a situation where somebody's in the back of your mind and they appear out of nowhere in it. So the people that I'm taking the 1 cards off to make the 3. So you got 3 men with my 2 cards, right? Everybody wait for me. I'm getting it in a minute. So it's even in association. So I'm waiting. I've got the thing. So then you've got them 3. Yeah, I mean, what about my beat? Remember, you got to put me on. I've paid mine. All that kind of, sadly, this is how I was. And this guy, one of the 3, came up to me and said, yeah, that ain't really my card. That belongs to him. So now, oh no. So this guy that stabbed Jay, Biko, whatever, it's his card, but he can't say nothing to me because he ain't giving me the card. But I see him talking to the fella that gave me the card, and he's saying to him, "Yeah, make sure get my card back. I ain't gonna be thinking." So I'm starting to get the ump now a bit, but then I'm starting to worry because I'm thinking this guy has got history. If I go and say to him, "Look, mate, you ain't getting none," or I don't give it back, he might draw out his thing and stab me. So I'm thinking like that. So lo and behold, the other three got their eyes on me. We know what addiction does, sadly, and they're watching all my movements. So I get the thing, I go upstairs onto the twos, or ones, I think I was, they were on the twos. Run back down to my cell, gone in there to do the thing, and there's a knock at the door. In Albany, you get these little metal door jammers we call them, where if the screws or officers want to pile in, they can't because there's a stopper on the door when you push it, so you make a little hole at the bottom of the door so that when they push it, it's like you've got it locked, and then they say unlock the door and they're trying to charge through and that kind of stuff. So I put one of those on while I was doing the smoking because I know there's only about 10-15 minutes left of association. So then I hear the knock and I'm hearing this guy. So I know this, and I can hear the other guy's voice that stabbed Junior behind him, saying, "Yeah, get my things, with my things." So I could hear the kind of tone in the voice, and I'm thinking, all right. So I'm thinking, all right, Yammy, call him in, give him a couple of lines. But then I'm thinking, the way that I used to think, greedy, deadly, thinking I'm not taking no check, I don't want to live any, that kind of behavior that I had. So I opened the door, and I was just about, first of all, I was going to say, yeah, come in. There was a couple of things about being a greedy bastard. So when the door opened, I drew out my ice pick, and immediately done a frenzy on the guy. 3 or 4, 1, 1, 1, 1. Sadly, it's got to be said, and there were a couple of times after this where we bumped into each other in other prisons as well, but it's part of my story. I'll say exactly how it is. And basically I flashed down the landing after doing that, passed the tool to somebody along the way as well, or dropped it off and somebody put it away for me and disappeared. Injuries are quite severe, sadly. Regrets and things, is one of the features of making amends as well with that life. But it comes to that old thing as well, that if I would have left it, it was me that started it because I was pulling the con move. But sometimes you don't have to pull a con move to get hurt in there. As we quite clearly saw, he didn't give no one else a chance. Not going to right size and say, now, of course, I'm going to say, no, it's totally wrong. But during that time, I'm thinking, nah, you give as good as you got. I'm scared of you, mate. I ain't going to let you draw your thing on me first, because I'm going to get serious harm because you don't give other people a chance to respond. And over the years, sadly, it was bloody hell. That's a long video, yeah. And that's how it ended. So he ended up going to hospital, but there was also repercussions there for me on that, for that particular thing as well. But sending you loads of love. I've got another one coming up tonight, the Saturday Night Chiller. But yeah, have a great day.